Welcome to video lecture on management and entrepreneurship for IT industry. In this lecture, I'm going to explain about project report, that is meaning and significance of project report, content of a project report, formulation of project report, and what are the guidelines given by planning commission to write the project report. First, let us see what is the meaning of project report. There are many definition or meaning for the project report. Let us see the few definition for project report. A project report or a business plan is a written statement of what an entrepreneur proposes to take up. It is a It is a kind of course of action what the entrepreneur hopes to achieve in his business and how he is going to achieve it. A project report serves like a kind of big roadmap to reach the destination determined by the entrepreneur. A well evolved course of action devised to achieve the specified objective within a specified period of time is the project report. It is like an operating document. A project report comprises of detailed analysis of the project. An expert prepares the report before the investment is done in the project. The report assesses the demand for the proposed product or service. It works out the cost of investment and probability on this investment. It acts as an instrument to convince the investor to invest in the project. A project report gives information on the following aspect, that is economic aspect, technical aspect, financial aspect, production aspects, managerial aspect. Technical aspects like technology, machinery, equipment needed are written in detail in the project report. Economic aspects include present market, scope of growth, justification for investment, etc. Financial aspects include total investment needed, cost of capital, and return on capital. Production aspects include product details and justification. Managerial aspect include qualification, experience of the people needed for the managerial post, etc. Now let us look into the need and significance of the project report. An objective without a plan is a dream. The preparation of a project report is a great significance for the entrepreneur in the business. There is a variety of purposes which a project report or a business plan will fulfill. The diagram shown in the presentation indicates the need and significance of the project report. The first need and significance of the project report is that it justifies the viability of the venture. For securing the equity and venture for the capital, we need the project report. For securing the bank finance or loan, the project report is required. For attracting joint venture partners and for obtaining clearance certificate and approval form from the government agencies and for securing orders from key potential customer, for providing a roadmap and direction during the implementation, and for seducing the best talent to join as an employee in the startup venture, and for refining the business idea and to eliminate shortcomings, we need project report. In modern business, project report helps an entrepreneur judge the profitability of a given enterprise proposal. If it reveals a proposal to be unviable, the entrepreneur will avoid a grave error of investing in an unsound venture. Project report is the basis for a development bank to sanction long term financial assistance and a commercial bank to provide working capital assistance. Project report is the process of firming up technical arrangement, choosing a location, selecting the plant and machinery, determining the manpower and utility needs, etc., required for the project implementation. Project report generates a knowledge base for the entrepreneur concerning such as diverse facets as a structure of enterprise, industry, market, raw material supply and technology, etc. Project report educates the entrepreneur regarding the degree of risk underlying in the enterprise proposal. Project report brings into sharp focus the key performance determinants in the chosen line of business and thus makes the entrepreneur to realize the need to pay special attention to such determinants. Project report describe the direction of enterprise is going in, what is its goal are, where it wants to be and how it is going to get there. The project preparation of project report is beneficial for those small scale enterprise which apply for financial assistance from the financial institution and commercial banks. On the basis of project report, the financial institute makes the appraisal and decides whether the financial assistance should be given or not. If yes, how much? Other organizations which provide various assistance like workshed, land, raw material, etc. also make decision on the basis of project report. Now let us see how project report helps in refining the business idea and eliminating the shortcomings. The project report is a means to put the business idea in a black and white to meticulously think through the various instincts and to eliminate any shortcomings in the business. The project report justifies the viability of the venture. The project report serves as a powerful mechanism to justify the viability of the venture before the venture partners, family, friends, and relatives willing to invest as an equity partner in the venture. It becomes a good reality check before the process of convincing the outsider about the feasibility of project commence. Project report helps in securing the equity venture capital. There are angel investor and silent partners who invariably require the business plan in the form of a project report before considering sanction of equity venture capital for the project. Project report helps in securing the bank finance. The debt portion of the funding is to be secured from bank or financial institutions. The project report is a mandatory requirement for the above purpose. Project report helps in attracting joint venture partners. In some instances, some existing firms may be willing to partner with you to create a joint venture for which they would require the project report to assess the fit between the firms, intellectual property protection, etc. For example, the Bharati Airtel is planning to joint venture with Walmart in retailing space. Project report is required in obtaining clearance and approval from government agencies. In certain industry, government clearance are required and project report becomes an essential document in such instances. For example, there are some environment clearance required for chemical industries. Project report is required for securing orders from key potential customers. The risk involved in a new business venture can be minimized up to a great extent if some key potential customers are willing to commit orders to the outset. It is easier said than done unless the customer are indeed convinced about the credibility and viability of the startup venture. The project report serves as an excellent tool in this regard. Project report helps in providing a roadmap and direction during implementation. The project report becomes a major help during the project implementation stage to provide necessary information to one and all about the exact what the original plan of the project is. This is especially true for key employees and partners in the firm who join at later stage when the project is already under implementation. Project report helps in seducing the best talent to join as an employee in the startup venture. The best of talent in the industry usually prefer to work for established firm and multinational corporation rather than for a startup venture, which of course have some degree of risk involved in them. The entrepreneur may like to showcase the project report before potential employees for key position to convince and seduce them towards the merits of joining the startup firm. Now we'll look into the content of project report. Content of a project report would depend upon the kind of business being proposed. However, in general, the content would be more or less similar to the one listed below. It is advisable that entrepreneurs should align the content of the project report as per unique requirement of new proposed venture rather than following a set of standard format. The content of the project report are cover page, table of content, executive summary, company information and industry, product or service, that is technical plan, marketing plan, manufacturing or operating plan, management team or organizational plan, project timeline or network analysis, critical risk and assumption, social plan, exit strategy, financial plan, conclusion and appendix. Cover page. The cover page of the project report should contain the title of the project on the top and the name and address, including phone number, website address, email ID, so that reader of the report, like investor, may easily contact you when required. Next, table of content. The table of content are compiled after the main body of the project report is finalized. Each topic covered in the report should be enumerated in the table of content with page number of the starting page of the topic clearly mentioned against it. The various appendices used in the report should also be enumerated with page number. The idea here is that reader of the project report should not find it difficult to locate the topic of interest. Executive summary. The executive summary should be written after the main part of the project report is ready. It should not be more than 2 pages in length, as the idea here is to entice the usually time poor reader to read the main part of the report. Thus, the executive summary should briefly summarize the key issues related to the project. Care should be taken not to incorporate any new points in executive summary which have not been covered in the main body of the report. Company information and industry. Here you should explain the ownership form of your company, the reasons for venturing into the proposed business, how you plan to satisfy the needs and expectation of the potential customer and the existing competitor in the industry, a strength, weakness, threat, opportunity, that is SWOT analysis, whereby strength and weakness of the proposed venture in addition to the threats and opportunity offered by the environment should be explained. One should not hesitate to candidly share the weakness of the proposed venture, as otherwise the report would appear unrealistic. Technical plan. In this section of the project report, you should highlight the key facets of the technical feasibility performed earlier during the feasibility analysis. You should justify the choice of your product and service. It is important to highlight what uniqueness or innovation the proposed product or service has compared to the one already existing in the market. That is, how your company would gain a competitive advantage. You should include the key drawings and photographs of the product in the appendices of the report with clear indication about its location in this section of the project report. Any patents obtained for the innovation brought about should be mentioned here. Marketing plan. This section of the report would draw heavily from the industry market feasibility study done earlier. Here you would need to describe your pricing policy, finding of the market research done, that is, how large is the market for your product proposed, how you can plan to promote the product, that is, advertising strategy, how you plan to sell the product, whether you are going to sell the product through departmental store, direct selling through sales force, etc. You should also need to elaborate upon your target market, that is, any particular region you would target initially, any particular market segment targeted initially should be identified here. For example, whether you have designed the product for children's, youth, or college going student, or working professional, or housewives, etc. If your product would be bundled together with some after sales service, you would explain about the aspects of the related warranty policy. Operation plan. Here you should describe the manufacturing and service delivery process to be utilized for production and rendering of the product or service chosen. You should explain about any innovation brought about in the process which makes it better compared to the other competitors. The machinery and the equipment to be utilized in the process should be detailed out. You should also cover aspects like where the facility would be located, which factors are conducive to the location selected by you. Is there any easy availability of skilled labor in that region? What would be the capacity of the facility? What would be the layout of the facility? Would there be a scope for expansion of the facility in future? Organizational plan. An impressive list of names that would be a part of your management team would increase the impact factor of your project report. You would need to highlight how the technical skills and business management skills coupled with suitable qualification and experience of these people in the team would complement each other's profile. Project timeline or network diagram or network analysis. In this network diagram, various activities in a project are sequentially organized and the time duration required for the execution of the project is arrived at by estimating the time duration of various activities. This diagram should be included in the appendices of the project report and should be summarized in this part to provide an overview to the reader about the timeliness proposed to be followed in the project. This will give a realistic idea to the readers about the gestation period involved in the proposed business venture. Care should be taken to arrive at realistic time estimate rather than over ambitious one, as this may have effect on risk associated with the project. Critical risk and assumptions. In a business plan, there are several assumptions made. For example, sales projection and forecast of a new innovative product may be based upon expert opinion rather than the past sales data. Similarly, there are many types of risk like an established competitor reducing the price of a similar product drastically to prevent you from entering into the market. All such risk and assumptions should be candidly shared in this section of the project report than hiding them from the readers. Social plan. Social plan is assuming more and more importance in today's times. In this part of the report, you should explain how your project would result in employment generation, skill development of local people, provision of goods and service produced by the company to the local population, utilization of local raw materials, resources, etc. The government agencies support projects in many ways which help in community development, especially in rural and unindustrialized region of the country. Many financial institutions have a mandate from the government to fund such projects at concessional interest rate. This part of the report should also explain how the environmental impact assessment would be performed by the company and how company would take care of industrial waste which may be potential environmental hazards. Exit strategy. This is a negative aspect of a proposed business venture but is equally important. Here you are expected to formulate a strategy for exiting the business in case things go out of hand. The investors are most interested to know about this strategy as to how they would recover their money from failed business venture. Financial plan. This is the most important part of the report as the content of all previous section would be integrated here to come up with number of numbers in monetary terms, the possible sources and uses of capital for the venture, the projections of revenue and the cost in terms of rupees, the break-even analysis, etc. would be required here. Key financial ratios should be arrived at, for example, the debt equity ratio, etc., to present a realistic picture of the financial aspect involved in the project. Conclusion. The conclusion of the report should summarize the key aspect of the report in the concise manner. It should end the report on positive notes so that the readers think favorably for the proposed venture. Appendices. Appendices follow the conclusion of the report and contain the supplementary data which is important but cannot be incorporated in the main body of the report as it would disrupt the flow of the storyline there. Appendices should be clearly marked with the letter A, B, C, etc. with suitable title of the content presented in them. Now let us see Planning Commission guidelines for project report preparation. In order to process investment proposal and arrive at investment decision, the Planning Commission has issued guidelines for preparing and formulating industrial project. The guidelines have been summarized as follows. General information, preliminary analysis of alternative, project description, marketing plan, capital requirement and cost, operating requirements and cost, financial analysis and economic analysis. General information, the feasibility report should include an analysis of the industry to which the project belongs. It should deal with the past performance of the industry. The description of type of industry should also be given. That is, the priority of the industry, increase in production, role of the public sector, allocation of investment of funds, choice of technique, etc. This should contain information about the enterprise submitting the feasibility report. Preliminary analysis of alternatives. This should contain present data on the gap between demand and supply for the outputs which are to be produced. Data on the capacity that would be available from projects that are in the production or under implementation at the time of report prepared. A complete list of all existing plants in the industry giving their capacity and their level of production actually attained, a list of all projects for which letter of intent license have been issued and a list of proposed project. All options that are technically feasible should be considered at this preliminary stage. The location of the project and its implementation should also be looked into. An account of the foreign exchange requirement should be taken. The profitability of different options should also be looked into. An account of foreign exchange requirement should be taken. The profitability of different options should also be given. The rate of return on investment should be calculated and presented in the report. The alternative cost calculation or vice versa return should be presented. Project description. The feasibility report should provide a brief description of the technology process chosen for the project. Information relevant for determining the optimality of the location chosen should also be included. To assist in the assessment of the environmental effect of the project, every feasibility report must be present in the information on specific points like pollution, water, land, air, flora, fauna, effects on arising out of the project's pollution, other environmental destruction, etc. The report should contain a list of important items of capital equipment and also a list of operational requirement of the plant, requirement of water and power, requirement of personnel, organizational structure, transport cost, activity wise phases of the construction and factors affecting it. Marketing plan. It should contain the following items: the data on marketing plan, demand and prospective supply in each of this area to be served, the methods and the data used for marketing estimate for domestic supply and selection of the market areas should be presented. Estimates the degree of price sensitivity should be presented. It should contain on an analysis of past trends in the price. Capital requirement and cost. This estimate should be reasonably complete and properly estimated. Information on all item cost should be carefully collected and presented. Operating requirements and cost. Operating cost incurred after the commencement of commercial production. Information about all items of operating cost should be collected. Operating costs relate to the cost of raw materials and intermediaries, fuel, utilities, labor, repair and maintenance, selling expenses and other expenses. Financial analysis. This strategy is to present some measure to assess the financial viability of the project. Foreign exchange requirement should be cleared by the Department of Economic Affairs. The sensitivity analysis should also be presented, that is, sensitivity of the rate of return of change in the level and pattern of product prices. Economic analysis. Social profitability analysis needs some adjustment in the data relating the cost and return to the enterprise. One important type of adjustment involves a correction in input and cost to reflect the true value of foreign exchange, labor, and capital. The enterprise should try to assess the impact of its operations on foreign trade. Indirect cost and benefit should be included in the report. Now let us see what is errors in the project report. A project report is a means to showcase the potential merits of the proposed business ventures. Errors in the report may spoil the future of the project as the potential investor may disagree to invest in the venture. The diagram shows the commonly found errors in the project report. First one, shabby and underdeveloped and full of typos. As the project report showcased the positive intent and seriousness of the entrepreneur, any stain like food or tea stains on the report may defeat this purpose. The report should be complete in external appearance with neat and legible printing. Next is negligible or no personal equity in the venture. In some instances, it has been found that the entrepreneurs proposing the project report themselves have a negligible or no personal equity in the proposed venture. It does not go down well with the investor who are looking at the report for financing the venture. Outdated financial information or industry comparison. Some project reports incorporate financial information which is outdated and industry comparison which are based upon old data. This gives the impression to the investor that perhaps the report is not recently created. Excessive technical terminology. Entrepreneurs with technical background at times get carried away in using technical words or terminologies in the project report. This approach may backfire as many of the reviewers of the project report or the investor may not be understanding this technical terminology. Hence, it is unadvisable to use less technical terminology in the project report. Undue optimistic projection. The sales and revenue projection or forecast for the proposed venture may be unduly inflated in the report. If such projections are not in conscience with the data upon which these are based, the investor may become jittery. Avoiding the mention of potential threats and internal weakness. A feel good report may not go down well with the investor as their job is to critically examine all aspects of the proposed venture for its viability. Incorporating financial information without knowing its full implication. Often the entrepreneur takes help of financial expert or chartered account in compiling the financial part of the project report. Then the entrepreneur should understand all the implication of such information incorporated in the report, and during the presentation he should be able to answer all the queries asked by the investor in this aspects. Absence of what if scenario. The business environment today is highly dynamic. It cannot be presumed that the existing competitor in the marketplace would not retaliate to the moves and strategies proposed to pursued by the new venture. Often the project report miss out to include what if scenario to highlight the steps to be taken in case of a strategy does not work as expected. Hence, it is very important to write about what if scenario in the project report. So, I have discussed about the project content and guidelines for the project report and errors in the project report in this lecture.